Welcome, everyone, to our Brave Enough to Fail series. As all of you know, Brave Enough to Fail is an organization that was started by Wayne Winsley and his team to inspire and to really encourage youngsters in the middle school and the high school and beyond to become their best version of them. And Wayne and I partnered up with Harrison Legacy to bring some amazing people and some interviews with individuals that we truly believe that have a light within them and have fought through adversity and challenge to become successful. So today I have none other than a good friend of mine, Sistah Anyangō, who is inspiring women and individuals all over the world. I'm going to let her share a little more about what she does, but what I wanted to really introduce her to you guys today was because I truly believe that, she's been pulled and tugged, but she's never broken. She's decided to fight through whatever adversities come her way and be able to strengthen herself along the way. And I truly believe that her message today for all of you that are watching this can truly inspire you and push you to be the best version of yourself. So thank you, Sistah, for being here with us today.
I'm very, very appreciative, grateful, thankful for you, Aaron, my fly ISA motivator forever. I'm appreciative of the platform that you now find yourself on and given this opportunity to share whatever words of wisdom, whatever energy of encouragement that I can share to young people who are navigating through the struggles of both middle school and high school, which is very, very different, a very, very different landscape, certainly for me, you, and my children. I am a mom of 8. And how I got to that magic number is I birthed 4, I adopted 2, and I have 2 that adopted me. So that brings me up to the wonderful energy of being an Ima of 8. I also consider myself an Iya. Iya is a Yoruba term which means mother for the people. So the way that I come in, the way that I encourage, motivate, inspire, counsel, coach is really loving, nurturing, and no nonsense. Because at the end of the day, my goal for you, all of you under the sound of my voice, is to really be able to create the life that you want based upon the passion that you have inside of you, because you all have it, the purpose that you have inside of you, because you all have that too. So being able to create a life that you want and not one that you might decide to settle for. And here's how I talk about this. One, you get to have what I call a FLYY relationship standard. What is that? That means FLYY is an acronym, which means freedom to love the you and you. Always your opportunity to free up the energy in your body and love and accept yourself for exactly who you are. So you get to now know at your age that you can create a standard for the relationships that you find yourself in. You get to determine what you want, what you need, what you desire, what's non-negotiable relationships right now here at your age. 2, you get to be all up in your feelings, because when you're all up in your feelings, you're in that heart space, not the brain space, which is limited, but the heart space, right? You get to create, set, hold, maintain healthy boundaries. You heard me say it, boundaries. You don't have to have energy always coming at you. You get to set a healthy boundary where you get to decide the energy that you want to hold. 4, you get to have the power of no, which will open up your yes. And hear me now. No is a complete sentence and requires no further explanation. Get that. No is a complete sentence, requires no further explanation. And the last one, number 5, what I call the FLYY energy of love and support. You want to know who rides for you, because the people that ride for you, they don't park. Hear me now. People that ride for you don't park. They stay with you until the wheels fall off and then they fly with you. So in this, whether you're in middle school, high school, know these 5 principles of FLYY now, because they can become the blueprint for how you navigate through the challenges of middle school to get you through high school, to move you through whatever you decided to do after that point.
Wow. So much gold there. And I wish I would have heard that when I was in middle school and
Right?
high school. Wouldn't you? Wow.
Right.
I know it's so amazing what life will give you if you are open to listening. So the first question I want to ask you is, how did you get to where you are now? And what is your story? Like what, yeah, that question alone, right? I mean, yeah, where have you been and how did you get here?
So to get here in terms of being the CEO and founder of the FLYY Movement and the FLYY Foundation, because I now own 2 businesses. One for profit and the other one is nonprofit. I really feel like it's all the experiences that spirit has guided me through that landed me here. Specifically in terms of the FLYY movement, FLYY 16 years ago, I feel like that was an energy that I was called into, not something I necessarily selected. Because of my passion, because of my purpose, because of what I was perfectly positioned to do at that time, it was to give women 40 plus an opportunity to really find themselves, see themselves, discover themselves, love themselves, and then be able to be so grounded in that they can turn around to their children and be able to guide them into the same energy. So now if we have moms and also dads now, because you have been in the space, you know there's men as well as women who are grounded into loving themselves for exactly who they are, to tap into that authenticity, no matter who we are, no matter who we're around. We can maintain that authenticity. And it's difficult to learn it, to grow it, to be it, to hold it, but we get it, we ground into it, all the L's that we have to take in order to get there, then we can turn around and parent our children from a very different lens so that they don't have to struggle in the same way that we had to. They have their own struggles because this generation, whole new world, different level of struggles for sure, but they get the benefit of what it took for us to be grounded, be centered, be balanced in that loving of self, in that caring for self, so then we can then give our children permission to do the same. So that we're not asking our children to be anything other than who they come in the door authentically as and continue to grow into becoming. It is not my job for me to tell my children, and they're all adults now, who they should or should not be. It's my job to support them in discovering who they are and being the wind underneath their wings.
So who were you in high school?
So in high school, I went to an all-girls Catholic school, Mercy High School in Middletown, Connecticut. So I was one of those individuals who grew up in a predominantly white neighborhood. I was one of those individuals who, when we moved in, we were the only Black family on the block. We were that family who there was a petition circulated around the block to get us off the block because at that time,
Oh,
integration was very new. We didn't leave because my mother still owns that house 55 years later, because I was 3 at the time that we moved in. So I grew up in that kind of dichotomy of being in predominantly white environments. But my parents made sure that I had that balance. So while I went to school in Cromwell and in Middletown, everything around me was from an African descendant perspective. So I always got the balance. Graduated from Mercy High School, went on to undergraduate at Colgate University, again, a predominantly white institution, studied English literature and African American studies as a dual major, left there, went to Ohio State University, finished my master's, again in African American studies. And that's where I started my family. Involved 100% in African descendant cosmology, studies, spirituality, in that entire environment. And that became my second family where I got married and started having my children. Then I transitioned from Columbus, Ohio, and returned to Connecticut to start over. Once I got here, learning, growing, coming back to family, what that means, I got into youth and family development. I worked for the Urban League of Greater Hartford, Catholic Charities, DCF, until Spirit called me here
hmm.
to begin FLYY in 2007.
And if you're hearing this, this is what we're talking about, right? You may have had a path for yourself initially, and then as things started to unfold, challenges started to present themselves, you started to grow and make decisions, things quickly evolve, and you are basically what you reap what you sow, right? So I want to go back for a minute in high school because again, this is an important pivotal point of this whole thing is how do children overcome the distractions, right? Because your distractions in high school, my distractions in high school are a lot different than today's distractions. So if you were to put yourself in high school now with the mindset you had then, what would be some of the things that would assist? We all know that, we don't have the answers all the time. We're going to have to go through challenges and things like that. But, based on what you've accumulated now of knowledge and going back to that person you were in high school, and now coming back fast forward 2024, 2025, either in middle school or high school, what advice would you have to help these youngsters to continue to believe in a dream that they have inside of them that may not be always supported by their environment?
Be okay with who you are, regardless of who you're around. That's the one thing I've told my children, all of them, consistently. Everyone is not going to agree with you. Everybody ain't going to like you either. But if you can stick to being okay with who you are, regardless of who you're around, two things will happen. One, you'll be able to find your people because your people are the ones who support you, love you, encourage you, motivate you for who you are, regardless of who you're around. That's the first thing. Second thing is you'll be able to be comfortable with seeking out help. This is the biggest challenge for adults, to be okay with getting the help you need when you need it, because we don't have all the answers. We just don't. But somebody else has the answer to the question that we're asking. So being okay with seeking the support that you need when you need it, and knowing that the support may not come in the way that you think it's going to come. And if it doesn't, that's okay. Excuse those people for who they are, accept those people for who they are, and then get the support that you need from places where you might not expect that you'll be able to get the love and the support that you
And that's
need.
a big one. You know, I
It, it,
think
it, it's,
for
it's huge because I think we can sometimes get stuck. And if we don't get the support where we feel like it's supposed to come from, then that's it. We don't get to have love and support at all. I want to tell you right now, that's not the situation. Your love and support is going to come in through a multiple of pathways and people and situations and opportunities and moments. It won't always come from family. And I'm gonna just say it. It won't always come from there.
so how do you recommend they handle that when, you know, it looks like all of the chips are stacked against them, and they don't really have that courage to reach out to say, hey, what else is out there to help me, right? I mean, they're in this program, they're in the Boss Academy because something told them or they told them that they needed to move forward in this. You know, what would be some of the tools that you would say would be helpful when they are in that moment of I need to ask for help and don't know how?
That would be trusting that if you're in this position, if you're in this program, somebody in that program is ready to help you.
Hmm.
In the check-in, because we all have it, the check-in with that little voice inside of us that says, reach out. Even if you feel the chips are stacked against you, even if everywhere you turn, stuff is crazy and you don't see or feel a way out, that one person in that program that you're attached to, one word, one moment, hey, can I holler at you for a minute? Can I talk to you for a minute? And that one connection can snowball and lead you to the next, to the next, to the next, to the next, to the next. That's what I would say, is to reach out. Because if you're in a program such as this, then the mentors are here because they done been through some things. Because
Mhm.
we don't become mentors because everything is perfect. Absolutely not. Not at all. We become mentors and we become the most powerful mentors because we done been through some things. And we want to share with you the benefit of what we have gone through to support you and what you're going through. Because we're not going to assume you're not going to go through no stuff either. Because that's just not reality. We're humans. We all going to go through some stuff. And at times the stuff is heavier than we can even think we can get out of. I'm here to tell you, yes, you can get out of whatever it is.
And
Whatever.
so
And
let's
that's
talk about those obstacles. What are some of the obstacles that you had to overcome getting to who you are today?
part of it is coming out of a predominantly white environment and getting comfortable with being an African descended woman, dealing with racism, dealing with sexism, all of that, and and really advocating in a predominantly white Catholic school the need for my existence. While I was there, I advocated at the time we didn't have Black History Month. That's not long ago. I'm dating myself. It was Black History Week. So I advocated for us to have a Black History Week. And that finally happened. So I had to be the one responsible for creating the display window in our high school and for also doing those snippets on the announcements every morning for the week to be able to have that. So every year I did the same thing, to the extent where my senior year, we had an African American pastor come in and preach a service from our perspective during that week to now give some credence to the African American experience that I was then able to bring into that environment. So that was one of the things in college. So you want me to stay here with high school?
You can go on. Yeah. What other, what are the obstacles during your journey?
So in moving on to undergrad, I was at a predominantly white undergraduate institution, Colgate University, and it's the same thing. It's coming in contact with individuals who feel like you don't belong. And if we're not careful, we start feeling like we don't belong. But I was in a program that said I did belong. And there were all kind of times, and I had to watch people to the left and to the right of me that didn't make it. So everyone who came into my freshman class didn't all graduate. And I had to see members in the class before me who didn't make it. And part of that is it is a struggle with dealing with institutionalized racism in predominantly white environments, institutions of higher learning. And so what saved us is our support. What saved us was holding on to the support in our program, holding on to each other, and creating experiences where we could hold on to each other, support each other, get through academically, socially, because it's not all academic, socially, and create experiences that were safe for us to be able to have, and really be able to connect with individuals who believed in us, who believed in our success, who supported us when we failed.
Yeah, that's huge. And this is a testament of you feeling, again, chips are stacked against you. You knew that it was going to be a road that was definitely unpaved and you had to go through some stuff, but because you were willing to stick to your values and your belief structure, you were able to push through. And so, speaking to these young women, okay, we've had some powerful men on here interviewing and speaking about their journey. But now, from a female standpoint, a Black female standpoint, or even a white, doesn't matter. I think it's important from a messaging coming from a powerful woman as yourself about the challenges that they're going to be seeing and that you may have seen, and maybe you still see because you have daughters. What would be some of the messaging you can give to them to help them push through specifically for women?
Know your value, know your worth. Those are two biggies. And then seeking out the support of other women to help you stay grounded in knowing your value and knowing your worth, because it is going to get shook. It is going to get shaken. Middle school, high school, college, and out in the world. That's just reality, because we battle every day against racism, sexism, misogyny, narcissism every single day. And how we survive and then move on, because I don't believe in mere survival. I do believe in living and thriving and flying, of course, and soaring. But our ability to do that is contingent upon us knowing our value, knowing our worth, and seeking out support that continues to support that, encourage that, motivate that, substantiate that. Because it is a battle every single day to be mindful of value and worth with everything that we get hit with, particularly women, women of color, Black women, for sure. And
Yeah,
so
thank you.
that's probably part of the thing, part of the energy in terms of FLYY, because that's what I founded it on, was women 40 plus, to be able to have that sense of self, to be able to hold that sense of self, to be able to hold body confidence, look in the mirror, and not ascribe to any other individuals or any other societal standards of beauty. It's a struggle every single day because we get hit with that every day. And so I'm glad to see, to some extent, there's a return to organic beauty. There's a turn to natural beauty. It's okay to now wear our natural hair, our braids, our locks, our fros. That's more accepted than it was before. And then to be okay with varying body types. You don't have to squish and squeeze into a particular body type. That's no longer, we don't have to do that. Now, is there pressure? There's always going to be pressure. There's always going to be feeling compelled to squish and shift and look as if this one or that one. But I'm here to tell you to know your value, know your worth, and seek out support that helps to support and encourage and motivate that for sure.
Wow. And I love that. That messaging is so important. So thank you for sharing that because I do see that. I have, young sons, but I do see their circle and I tell them all the time to be encouraging and to be loving to those around them, to love themselves because we know all of us have been called to do great things individually and it's nobody else's business nor opinion of how we go about it or who we are. It's up to us to love ourselves. So thank you for that. And so in closing, Sistah, I think it's important to give some steps, some things that they can take away from this and start to get into action now. Because again, inspiration and things like that is great. Motivation is great. But at the end of the day, it's like, what can I do? Like, how do I take away from some of these things and implement them right now? So I would love to hear maybe, 2 to 3 tips or, 5 tips, how many you feel would be necessary. But I think giving them something to do, some actions, leaving this call today.
I think the biggest thing is to start thinking about what it is you feel like you want to do. That thing that you dream about, that thing that's inside of your soul, regardless of what anybody might say. Because if you have it in you, it's uniquely designed for you. So that thing that you dream about, that you think about, that you vibe on, that thing that you can imagine yourself doing every day for the rest of your life, that thing, whatever that thing is, and then reach out for support to help you manifest whatever that thing is. 2, be mindful of what you're putting in your body. I'm a holistic health practitioner, so it's always good to be mindful on what you're eating, how much water you're drinking, and how you're moving. For those who have a relationship with a higher power, it's important for us to connect and align with a higher power on a daily basis. I know there's probably more than 3. There's probably about 5 that I already said. But I believe in that and making sure you're sleeping. So it's, eating clean, drinking water, thinking positive, moving daily, and sleep is important. And if you're struggling with energies around anxiety, around depression, because these are big. If you're struggling with energies around anxiety, around depression, around suicide ideation, these are moments where you can get help. You don't have to feel ashamed or embarrassed because it happens more than we think. And for to be able to say, you know what, I'm having a hard time. I'm struggling. I'm not okay. It's okay to say I'm not okay. It's okay to own that. Something doesn't feel quite right. I'm off. I don't feel balanced. I don't feel like I'm connected. I don't feel like I'm belong. That's the time you reach out for help. And that's my biggest thing. That's my biggest thing. Whatever's going on inside of you, reach out to someone who can help you feel safe so that you can get the help that you want, so you can manifest all that you're specifically, purposefully positioned to do in this lifetime.
Oh, I mean, it's such an awesome feeling, really, to see you, Sistah, and to really hear your wisdom and things that you've shared with us today. I know that all of these young adults watching this will certainly take away some great tips and things that they can implement immediately, and I certainly encourage them to do so. I also want to give an opportunity for them to know how they can reach out to you, because I think we talk about resources, we think about how can we get help, and everything that you shared, there may be someone that's like, hey, I need help, or they know someone who needs help that are around the areas of what you spoke about. So how could someone reach out to you and get in touch with you in that case?
I mean, my phone number is public. My business is the FLYY Movement. On Facebook, I know young people are typically not on Facebook because that's our generation, but on Instagram is at the FLYY Movement. So FLYY Movement. You'll see Sistah Anyangō under at the FLYY Movement on Instagram. Phone number, of course, is 860-778-1862. Again, 860-778-1862. Or that would be the easiest thing for this population, because they can also always DM me on Instagram as well if they hit it under at the FLYY Movement. So there's probably
Because they may have a loved one, right? They may have an aunt, an uncle, someone, a mother, someone that they know who isn't supportive of them, but they also are struggling. So the two of them
okay.
are trying to figure it out, right? And
Yeah.
that's their support system. So it just makes sense to make sure that those resources are available, because, like you said, it's okay to not be okay, right? But it's not okay not to say anything. And we want people to reach out, find help, and get supported, because they are important and they are purposeful. So thank you, Sistah, so much for being here today. And I love you. Thank you for doing this. And I want to wish you all the best, as always. And for those watching this, again, listen to this over and over and over again. What Sistah shared with you today is so important. You are all valuable. And if you're part of the Boss Movement, which is so important, this academy, what Wayne and your mentors have created, have given you the platform now to be you and to be the best version of you. Okay. And so internalize that. And you know what? It's not going to be easy.
Right.
But it's going to make a lot of sense once you start to push through some of those boundaries and some of those limiting beliefs that we may all have that come in, but we have control of what stays. So let those things go, believe, and like Sister said, take care of you and be beautiful. Thank you so much, Sister, again for being here with today, and we'll see you real soon.
Hey, thank you so much.
You're welcome.